good evening. Now we're going to speak about the clone species by Jesus, which is first bird and fish clones. We know that Moses has cloned cow, sheep, also birds and fish. But there is a special emphasis in Jesus' story about bird clone production. Specifically, in what we have read, there was a bat clone. That was probably when Jesus was hidden in a cave after his delivery. The bat most probably has acquired Jesus' characters and his cognition ability to see in the dark without using the external stimuli, his healing ability, his flying capability as well. We know that a bat can multiply in millions in their cave, which I believe that Jesus has done for them to be cloned in millions, and upon their feeding, there was two lines. We know from nature that there is a blood-fed clone, bat clone, that probably at that time was fed on those slaughtered and crossified corbans. There is also another bat clone that is fed on fig, and possibly at that time was used for clearing the city from the pollutants like insects and bugs that has bothered the dwellers. So those fig eaters can feed on insects and bugs. Then there is another clone, which is agriculture. Back to bath. The visual apparatus and the healing capability of bath to treat the same diseases as Jesus did, namely blindness and vitiligo, has to be studied thoroughly with evidences on the process can be taken from the Bible as well as what has been mentioned by Jesus' followers. The second clone is agriculture clones, as he did with wheat production. Then we do have gene repair and healing ability of Jesus, which is in our Quran was mentioned about vitiligo and blindness, but in the Bible there is say about healing of those who are mute, deaf, and paralyzed, etc. Then the last clone to be studied is Jesus' copy clone. So we do have from the Prophet, the legality of the exact copy clone, a copy of the same individual was there, and it has been legalized by the Prophet and our God. So in that clone, I have written some notes. I can find my notes about, but yes. So in Jesus' copy, we know that Jesus had a prophecy that he has been told by God that his nafs and his body shall return or shall ascend to God, and that he shall be purified from disbeliever's sin. we as I have read, after his last dinner, he poured his vinegar, alcohol versus water, and bread was served to his students. He said himself that he the vinegar or versus water shall be his blood, and the bread shall be his body, and that has formed the exact copy of Jesus. We know clearly from Quran that Jesus wasn't crucified and wasn't killed by those Jew, but rather he was ascended before they caught him. So and actually they were they have taken his copy, but the nature of the copy was unknown, of some claiming that one of his companions has been transformed into Jesus Jesus shape. But the exact story that that exact copy of Jesus was made up by Jesus before his ascent up. And there are evidences from that. So he was powerless, opposite to powerful or superpower Jesus. He was powerlessly taken. He was, um, as he was a newly born adult looking like a child, has no sin, as he never lived. He was powerly taken, lack of will, of Jesus being his guardian that has left him. So he was powerless when was taken, powerlessly was interrogated, and powerlessly was the court order. I'm sorry. He was he was powerless when was offended. He was powerless when his clothes were taken, and for those soldiers who are seeking the superpower of Jesus, he was powerless when he was tortured and when he was crucified. We I have tried to compare what is there, and I have reached to a conclusion that he died without breaking legs. He died before he was stabbed. So he died before he was stabbed and his blood was shed. He was taken by his students, cleaned with water, wrapped in clean clothes, and then he was buried. He was ascended as his father had after he was buried, which is, according to what has been mentioned, was on Sunday. So the exact copy purpose on this story was as salvation from death by Jesus, salvation of from death of the follow by Jesus. I mean, for Jesus' followers, and as atonement for the sins of claiming God and getting out of Moses' commands and teaching. So from this story, we know that those Jewish and uh, those Jewish were thinking that he's claiming to be God, and they are righteous, and those who are Christian followers were righteous too, and both of them has gained has benefit from his being coming with the exact copy to crucify and presented as Qurban. But he was dealt with, there was a deal. I mean, the copy was dealt with as a human being. So from this, we know that the copy was considered as a son of a human in God's Bible. So he was interrogated, he was judged, he was tortured, he was crucified, he died, and then they made sure that he died. So they stabbed him, and then after that he was dealt with as a human. So he was cleaned, he was buried, and God has dealt with him as his father Jesus, since the Son was free of sin. So he was pure, and obviously our world is not his world, as he's and so he followed his father world, which is up with God. So ultimately he was ascended. Then back to our subject, which is lessons to be learned from cloning the exact copy. So first of all, we need to know, and we need to have guaranteed that safety of efficacy of technology is there, being tested and guaranteed. There is a clinical ethics we need to follow, which is maintaining privacy, confidentiality, and autonomy. We need to set up an informed consent. We need to have professionalism on dealing with production of children coming out of this procedure, and we need to have no conflict of interest exists. The same rule more or less applied in research ethics. So we have beneficence, there is no maleficence, autonomy kept, and then there is social justice. Okay. I'm sorry, there is a kid beside me, but I have to finish those. I'm sorry. So, medical civil criminal law applied. Genetically, there are terms that we need to know. So, genetically identical twins, so meaning same set of genes. Personality identical twins, it's difficult to have, so usually they are different even in identical twins. And there is a term identity identical that is sure is not there, but in our circumstances, when of Jesus and his copy, there were identity identical. So, and human dignity is maintained. What we mean by dignity is the integrity of subject body and mind is maintained, and that depends on the self-image, cultural value and beliefs, religion, and stated law. So there are cases that we can discuss out of this story, which is first, a surrogate has the right of claiming motherhood. Then we have single virgin women can be religiously be a mother if she herself is the ova and somatic cell donors. The girl shall be the daughter with no father exists. Then the sexual production of exact copy is medically allowed, ensuring that the healthy babies, those babies are healthy. And as stated by the medical team, it's up to 8. In that sense, sperm donor shall be the father, the ovum donor should be the mother, and the surrogate shall be the mother. In our religion, those shall be abide by marriage contract before going ahead into the procedure, with the man being the husband of the 2 wives. In asexual production for children, so this is allowed as long as donors and the surrogate are not first-degree relatives, including step family, breastfed mother family, and the family-in-law. And the rule applies to the third case, which is the sexual production of exact copy. So in that sense, in that relation, the somatic and nuclear cell we do have four in this relation. There is somatic nuclear cell donor, there is mitochondrial donors, and there is ovum donor, and then there is a surrogate. Only one man is allowed in this relation, with the three others being wives. The same rule applies, that those has to be abide by marriage contract before going ahead into the procedure. And given the fact that cell membrane defects and mitochondrial defects um, are DNA identified, and we know that mitochondrial diseases are inherited as X-linked diseases. However, as far as I know, the somatic nuclear cell type of children reproduction is still under trial, and the standard clinical practice rules are yet to be set. Besides, safety of the future produced children is still under debate, given the ongoing fact that those who were born with defective heart, liver, and brain, and they do have expediting age matched with their donor age, and the use of exact copy in therapeutic procedure like organ transplant is still under debate. So there is you do have now defective body. Beside, there is another thing, that those could have identical soul versus soulless of the exact copy. So it's really huge field. I cannot set up a rule. I believe those who work in the field, and there would be equipped with up to date knowledge that fit the norm of society as well as the law of the country, and they are in position to judge the rules and regulations. But I do know that medical, civil, criminal laws applies, and we as human being species, in our species, are part of God creatures on earth, and we now know that there is for sure ways of cloning species, including human, and we have to keep our mind open to for evolution and ways of production of children, as long as it matches our values, our cult, our religion, and I wish for everyone, whether career wise or human wise, to have good. Um, I mean, oh, I can't find a word, but you understand me. Of course, I don't want to, being a woman, yet can't have kids. It's tough. So I would rather advise every woman and every man to try his best to have kids. Well, I wish for everyone the best, and you have a wonderful night. Bye.